But collagen's really interesting, because here's an issue. People who cut their fat and eat more healthy whole grains or follow a diet, everything in moderation, typically have rise in blood glucose. So, typical story, someone has a bowl of oatmeal, organic stone ground oatmeal in skim milk, no added sugar, maybe a handful of blueberries, whatever. Their blood glucose goes from 90 to 155. Every time blood glucose exceeds 100, you glycate proteins irreversibly. And one of the features of collagen in the body is very glycation prone. So every time your blood glucose from the bowl of ice cream or oatmeal or sandwich on whole wheat bread, your blood glucose goes above 100, you glycate the proteins, but especially collagen. In your skin, you have acceleration of skin aging. Because when you glycate collagen, it cross links and then fragments. And then your body reabsorbs the collagen. And you get ladies get very concerned about this because they get dermal thinning and they get wrinkles. So anytime blood glucose exceeds 100, you're causing accelerated skin aging. You also glycate the collagen in joints. The cartilage is mostly collagen. It's about 70% collagen. So you glycate the collagen in your knees and hips, and joint cartilage becomes brittle, breaks down, and you get arthritis, and eventually bone-on-bone arthritis. You glycate the collagen in your bones, and you weaken the bones. So glycation, very important fundamental process underlying many of the phenomena of aging. Every time blood glucose exceeds 100, but it becomes very important in collagen. So glycation is irreversible. You can't undo it. One of the great things is you can replace the collagen that was glycated by getting collagen. So we know with good evidence, including our own clinical trial, that when you ingest collagen, you increase dermal collagen, joint collagen, brain collagen, heart collagen, arterial collagen. So it's one of the occasional times that people are given a chance for a do-over.
How do you feel about all the different types of collagen? If we really want to get in the weeds here, there's different types from different animals, different parts of animals. I know I've seen a supplement that had a number of different types within the powder that was contained there. How do you feel about that? Is there certain types to look out for, or is this just becoming, is this too much for the average person and we don't need to go that far?
It's nonsense, Jesse. So people say things like, oh, our collagen is type 1, type 3, and type 4. Well, it doesn't matter because people say things like this. Well, type 1 collagen is important for joints, so we're going to give you type 1 collagen. That's not how it works. So here's what really happens. You consume collagen, you break it down into both single amino acids, as you do when you eat an egg or a piece of beef, but there are also unique sequences in collagen. These are so-called di- and tripeptide sequences, 2 and 3 amino acid long sequences, such as the glyprohip, glycine, proline, hydroxyproline. That tripeptide is resistant to human digestion. We don't have the enzymes to break that sequence down. So single amino acids and di- and tripeptides. And most of the di- and tripeptides that remain intact that go, for instance, to the skin, where they trigger the formation of collagen. So it's not that collagen here goes to the joint or the skin, it's the di- and tripeptides. So the greater the content of the di- and tripeptides, those sequences, the better the result of the collagen at lower doses. I point that out because if someone wants to take collagen, bovine, porcine, or chicken sources, the effective dose is typically 20 grams. It's pretty hefty dose. But if you get a marine sourced, it can be effective at a lower dose. But it varies because marine is not one thing, right? It could be a bony fish, could be a cartilaginous fish. They could have included the scales. So marine collagen is very variable, but there's evidence to suggest that marine source collagen is roughly the same effectiveness at a dose between 500 and 2,500 milligrams. So much lower dose, about a tenth of the dose. But one of the problems we have in marine sourced is if you buy, let's say your wife buys a canister of marine source collagen. In order to know what the dose is, we have to know what fish it came from. If it came from tilapia, if it came from haddock, if it came from shark, So, and if you call the retailer, the manufacturer, they'll typically say, we can't tell you, it's proprietary. So I know because I talk to the manufacturers. So, for instance, in one of the things I created, we source our collagen from a Japanese company called Nita Wellnex, and they have evidence, several studies to show that a dose of 1,500, 2,500 milligrams, so much less than the 20,000 milligrams, 20 grams of bovine, we know that that lower dose is effective. And I'm aware of that because we wanted to put it in a capsule form. You can't put bovine collagen in a capsule. You can, but you won't get enough. You can't put 20 grams, a big scoop, into capsule form, but you can do it with marine source collagen.
How do you feel about gelatin? My wife and kids like to make these gummies, very simple ingredients using gelatin, and they're delicious. They become pretty solidified. And how do you feel about that in relation to collagen?
Gelatin is great. It also is a source of collagen. Unfortunately, no one's done a head-to-head comparison to see if one is better than the other, but it's a perfectly fine and safe thing to do. I just don't know if it'll generate the same kind of effects that collagen will. For example, if you take 20 grams of bovine collagen every day, and we do something called high-resolution skin ultrasound, where we measure the thickness of the dermis. A lot of ladies are very familiar with topical products that affect the epidermis, the external, but really don't do much for the dermal layer beneath. And it's the dermis, the dermal layer, where skin health and appearance is determined. Dermal layer is living and very active, epidermis largely dead. So if you take collagen and we were to do high resolution skin ultrasound over 90 days, 3 months, we'd see about a 6 to 7% increase in the thickness of the dermis, and we would see evidence of collagen deposition because of those dying tripeptides, not because of type 1 or type 3. So now, when you combine that with rotari, Lactobacillus rotari, my favorite microbe in the world, and collagen, and we do hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid, another example of something we've abandoned because it's rich in brain and skin and other organs. So we've lost collagen, lost hyaluronic acid, and modern people live a diet of processed and ultra-processed foods, get very little carotenoids. So I threw a carotenoid in there, astaxanthin, the same kind of astaxanthin that's in krill, and we got a 15% increase in dermal thickness. So it makes ladies crazy because they lose their wrinkles.
If you enjoyed that clip, you're going to want to head over here and catch the full episode. I'll see you over there.
No, there's nothing else that tracks with LDL cholesterol because it's not a real number. It's a fictitious number. It's obtained by something called the Friedewald calculation. The LDL cholesterol reducing franchise, statin drugs, PCSK9 drugs, all that stuff pay huge amounts.